everybody. Welcome to episode 115 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's getting abducted as a child with me tonight?
The other secret apprentice, Michael K. Hughes.
And yeah, this is Brian Kreese. Hi, guys.
Hey, man.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thanks.
And before we go too far, Brian, where might people know you from?
Yeah, so a couple of buddies and I followed in your footsteps. We started our podcast last summer. It's called Draft Punks, and you can find it on most of your major podcast apps. But we basically pick a new topic each week, and then we'll do some kind of a fantasy football style snake draft where we pick our favorite things. This past week we did like arcade cabinets, which was super fun. So we try to put out a new one each week. We're usually successful at that, but it's been a lot of fun. So
I need to go back in February. You guys did a whole Zelda month. I need to go back and listen to those.
yeah, that was super fun. We had Kyle Hilliard on from Game Informer with us to talk about the best music in Zelda games, and we put in like clips of the music throughout. Hopefully we don't get sued. But that was just super fun to talk with Kyle about Zelda for an hour and a half. So
You're okay in most conditions. You'd have to get really big, and two, if you're having some of it, but you're talking while it's going on, or you're talking about it and you have it, then you're falling. And if you only have so many seconds of it, you fall under fair use.
Right.
So yeah, you're fine. I've never done it, but I know because I've talked to people about it and looked into it, but I'm not willing to take that chance.
Yeah, I guarantee we are not big enough for anybody to have noticed this that matters. So.
No, it's just YouTube algorithms. If you put it on YouTube, they'll get mad at you sometimes and shut you off.
Yeah, it's funny. We did an episode on Disney characters once. Sorry for the tangent, but I uploaded just like a 2-minute clip of this show to YouTube that had the voice of Genie in it. Not even singing, just like a line of dialogue from him. And that got flagged. It was like, you can't make any money off of this. And I was like, okay, I wasn't trying to. It's fine.
That's why I don't fuck around with any of that in any of my episodes. If people are like, I'll put music and do this. I'm like, no.
It'd be nice, but yeah.
It's more work than I want to do for anyone on the editing side. Putting music in is not fun. But that's the reason I don't want to do it, but also I just don't, because we're on YouTube now, and people actually listen to us on YouTube and get mad at us, but people listen to us.
Yeah, well.
Before we get in the episode, I made a joke before about, I didn't make the joke again. I have some of the movies on our Civil War, or not Civil War, our MCU podcast episodes on there, and people keep clicking on the Thor Dark World episode all the damn time, but they get upset when they find out it's not the movie. It's like, YouTube wouldn't let me post the movie.
Yeah.
Well, how do you think I'm going to get away with it?
Why is anyone wanting to watch The Dark World anyway?
That's what I keep asking.
Nobody remembers it. You don't remember that it's a bad movie. You don't even remember it exists. It's just completely forgettable. All right, but enough of that. We should talk about why we're here. This is actually Mike's pick for... I don't know how that happened. Mike, why don't you introduce what we're talking about this episode?
I'm not entirely sure how it happened. It wasn't even your persuasion, like Binary Domain, but we are talking about Star Wars: The Force Unleashed from 2008.
Made by LucasArts. And published
Some
by
versions, and other ones were by THQ for like the mobile, the ever popular N-Gage port.
I forgot this game was on N-Gage, even though we talked about it, I think, last week.
Yeah, I forgot until I pulled up the wiki. I'm like, oh yeah, that was a thing.
I mean, this was on everything: iOS, J2ME, N-Gage, Nintendo DS, PS2, PS3, PSP, Wii, 360, Windows, and Mac OS.
I don't even know. I've heard of the J2ME. Weird. Java platform micro edition. Okay, there you go.
I got nothing.
I had no idea on the Nintendo DS release. That's wild to me, huh?
It's I'm assuming very, very different. I know the Wii version different too compared to this version, but
yeah, we'll talk about the PS2 version later.
Oh yeah, so did anyone remember when this game came out? Was anybody like paying attention to what was going on at the time?
I'm not a big Star Wars fan, as we've talked about on the show, so my finger was not on the pulse of all things Star Wars. So I got nothing for you.
I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I remember when Game Informer did a cover issue on this in, I think it was March 2007, actually. I went and looked it up. It had a giant picture of Vader on the cover with Starkiller in front of him. And I just remember reading that feature like 8 times. And there was a specific line in there where it was like, this game is not about you like seeing a group of Wookiees and thinking, can I get through this encounter? It's like, how am I going to do this? Like, how do I want to kill these Wookiees? Like, and just the idea that it was like, you're going to finally have a chance to be like this super powerful character was like super exciting for me at the time.
So. Yeah, it's a total power trip once you get going. It's great.
Yeah, wait till we play 2 someday.
Someday.
But also, like, I remember the toys coming out because I worked at Target at the time when this game came out, and I think there was a Rancor toy, and then there was a Lego set of the Rogue Shadow, and this was a big deal when this came out because this was the first time since the prequels like you had more Star Wars stuff really happen. Like this was a big push to fill that gap in between Episode 3 and Episode 4. This was supposed to be the story that happened where Vader had his secret apprentice before he tried to get Luke and he tried to fight Palpatine. We were supposed to get a trilogy of these, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think one of the reasons we didn't get a third game, I mean, the second game wasn't super well received, but this is also like the last big Star Wars game series before Disney hopped in and bought LucasArts, too.
Yeah,
that's why
they did a lot of damage when they bought Star Wars and Marvel and all that stuff. Each time they did it, it's like so many projects were just thrown in the garbage.
Wait, there was a third one actually coming out of the series, but it got canceled when the acquisition happened.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm a big Disney defender, so you won't want to hear from me on that probably.
I'm glad they did, because we wouldn't have gotten more if they wouldn't have. Exactly. But I could have done without Last Jedi ever happening. But other than that, I'm fine.
Oh, boy. All right. I got to go.
Just not a fan of that movie. But
listen, we're not here to talk about Last Jedi.
Hey, I love the last movie, though.
AKA
I love
the best Star Wars movie.
I don't know why people say that, but okay. No, but Force Unleashed is very, very interesting. It also starts off the first level, you freaking play as Vader for like 10 minutes, which I don't like, but it's cool.
It was still, and that was such a huge thing to play as Vader, like in the Battlefront games. Like, you can play as Vader! Like, okay.
I don't care. I like Vader as a character, but I didn't care for him. I don't like the way he plays. I played this game before. This is like my 3rd or 4th time going through this game over the years because it's short and it's fun. So I keep playing.
I don't know if I call it short, but we'll get into that.
It's not. What difficulty were you playing on?
Easy, or whatever the easy is.
Did you put any transistor style limiters on this time?
No, I did not handicap myself this time. Thank God.
I liked it. It felt kind of like almost like a JRPG type trope where it's like you get to start off the game with like every ability and unlocked, and you're just like mowing through these levels, and then you get to the end of that, and it's like, okay, now we're gonna like put you back on with the training wheels and stuff, and you have to earn your way back to this point with your actual character that you're playing as. You know, you see in RPGs once in a while where it starts you off at like the precipice of like a final fight or a climactic moment, and then all of a sudden you get knocked out and you have amnesia and you don't know who you are anymore. So I kind of liked it from that aspect, like getting to play with all of the powers for like the first 15-20 minutes of the game, and realizing like where I could get back to. I like that.
I don't like the way
powers and then some. Like Vader has Force Choke, which you cannot get as Star Killer, and it bummed me the hell out.
I don't think I ever did Force Choke, unless the game made me.
I don't know. So you only get it for that first level, and then you can't use it.
I just threw everybody when I was Vader.
Yeah, the throwing is so fun. Sorry, Wookiees.
You've hit up on the D-pad, and it gives you like the action camera, so it follows whoever you throw off into the distance.
Yeah,
good stuff.
It's really cool. Like it's. I just don't like the way he controls because he's so slow, and that was my issue with it.
That's true.
Slow.
And, I mean, otherwise he's fine. Like it's fun part. You get to kill Wookiees, you get to kill stormtroopers. I mean, you get to see another side of Vader, which I think is very cool. But I just wasn't doing it for me.
Yeah, I guess my thought on that is that Vader wants to be imposing. He wants to be intimidating out on the battlefield, so he doesn't need to be fast. Like he's daring them to come after him. Like people are running away from Vader when they see him in a battle.
Yeah, I don't blame them. I'd be wrong. I don't know. I think because I know how the game plays later, I like the speed of the game. Sure. So it just bugged me in the beginning that you walk so slow and I can't dash. I can't do all the things I'm used to doing because I've beaten this game before a few times.
Absolutely. Yeah, I get that.
So that was my main issue. Other than that, it's very cool. It gives you a very good like style of where the Empire was at this time and how powerful they are. Why Kashyyyk isn't overrun at this point? Because I feel like it should have been by now. They never say exactly what year this is, other than it's after Revenge of the Sith.
It's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, I know, but I like years. I like
I
to
mean,
know, like,
I was gonna say that General, he tries to explain to Vader why the planet's not overrun yet, but Vader says he's not interested in his failures, so we'll never find out. He
I
just
was
chokes them and drops them.
I was very interested.
Yeah.
In the
I love the story.
The PS2 version, that's just a random stormtrooper that comes up to him with that line. It's like it's a weird choice.
Huh.
That's kind of cool. I forget because this game has like all the different versions are like the PS2 and the Wii version are kind of the same because the Wii was not up to what the 360 or PS3 could do.
Mm-hmm. The PS2 version that I played is very different, very obviously, but because the limitations of the system, all the levels are super linear and they're not as open. They don't have as big as rooms as this one as the other version we played. It makes it a little easier to get through, but there's definitely not as much to do in a level. It's like, go through, and then it'll drop you in a room, and it gives you a little life bar at the bottom, and you're supposed to kill so many guys. It's basically, it plays kind of like a beat 'em up. Like, go here, kill all these enemies, then you can move on.
I should try it out. I played the PC version, which I do not recommend.
Yeah, you had some issues.
So, for some reason, I don't know why, but the Ultimate Sith Edition, which is the only one you can buy on Steam, doesn't like to start. When you go to start it up, it looks like it starts. It goes to the bottom, but it never actually, like, you can't access it. You can hear the music. It's all choppy, but it won't access. So I had to restart the computer about 5 times and then get it to finally load so I could beat this game. Because I couldn't get it to keep going. It was really pissing me off. So I wanted to play the DLC, which we'll talk about later, but I couldn't get the game to load again. I'm like, oh, we're done. Uninstalled it the 3rd time, said, we're done. I'm not trying anymore. So, like, also, you only have that one level of Vader, which I'm happy with. And then in that level of Vader, you run into a rogue Jedi, which is supposed to be one of the ones that ran away from when everyone else is getting killed by Order 66. But I believe there'd be a lot more Jedi that left, because, I mean, look how many, there were a lot of them before the Clone Wars.
And every boss in this game, to a certain point, is different Jedis.
Yeah, which is cool. I mean, technically, the guys you fight with the lightsabers, the Shadow Guards, are technically Jedis at this point, too. Before they came up with the idea with Inquisitors and all the other stuff that Star Wars goes in with the Disney canon, this was originally their idea that they were being corrupted and stuff, which changes in the Disney canon. Brian might know what I'm talking about if he follows Star Wars as much as I think he does.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about this opening level and that boss while you're talking, and there's so much like weird stuff they tried to put in here to like explain canon things and in 4, 5, and 6 that didn't really need explanation. Like when you go into that building, the family crest for Starkiller and his dad is like what you will everyone recognizes it right away, but what you will eventually recognize as the Rebel Alliance logo for a Rebel Alliance that does not exist yet. So there's some really interesting choices in here. I think one of my issues with Star Wars video games in general is that in order to make them as fun and exciting as they admittedly are, is that they have to go a little wild with the canon sometimes, or what they consider canon. And this game is definitely like no exception to that. Yeah. So in terms of the sheer number of Jedi left after Order 66, I am a fan of less is more. But I agree with you that practically, if we're trying to take this as seriously as possible, there are probably like thousands out there like that weren't at the Jedi Temple.
Oh yeah, there should be a lot more, because
it
was a large religion for a long time, and they live long, and they usually live a while. Like, there would have been a lot that didn't want to be involved as generals, but that's neither here nor there in this game. But I always think about that in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and also when you fight this Jedi, all the boss fights in this game are very much one-on-one duels. Like, this one doesn't do anything for me because it's not a known character, just some random asshole you have to kill. Essentially what it is, just some random guy. He's even really bland looking too, but the whole point of it, when you kill him, a small child shows up that takes the lightsaber away from Vader, because it's his son, he's powerful in the Force, and the whole idea is that the character you play as mainly through most of this game was kidnapped by Vader when he was a child, and then manipulated to want to use his hate and fight for Vader, even though Vader just killed his parents.
Because Vader's
total sense.
Saying he senses someone that's stronger than the Jedi's fighting. He's like, where's your masters? You killed my master. And then it turns out it's the kid.
Yeah.
Galen Merrick, which is his non-Star Killer name.
And I do not like the way Star Killer looks. I know it looks just like the actor, but it bothers me.
It's that era of every protagonist is the bald white guy. It's like was all the rage at the time.
Yeah.
It's just
I'm a big fan of Sam Witwer, who's the voice and the the facial inspiration there. But it's I think it's also just the graphics in that era like weren't quite there where they needed to be for it to look really good. And he's still involved in Star Wars a little bit. Like he's done voice work for Darth Maul in different Star Wars
animated shows,
media and stuff. Yeah, so he's still involved, which I'm glad for because I do really like his performance in this game overall.
He does fine. I just don't like the way he looks because with the bald, it just bugs me a lot in this game. So, but yeah, like what Mike said, that time, bald white guy was what you did for your main character. But
yep.
I mean, it works. Like it's cool that the whole idea that the Secret Apprentice is working for Vader to eventually overthrow Palpatine because Vader realizes that Palpatine tricked him and manipulated into where he goes. So I understand. I've always agreed with that too. That's what was really going on. And like the whole idea, like your first mission is to go kill another Jedi that's still around, Coda, which I feel like Coda has maybe come up in the Disney canon, but I could be wrong. I feel like they reused that character or somebody. There's somebody like him in one of the Darth Vader comics in the second one. I know that, but I can't remember the guy's name. But it reminded me of Coda. But I can't tell you anything other than that because it's been a very long time. I just know it exists. But the first real mission of this game is where you're being sent to a TIE factory that's been overrun by General Coda, who's one of the Jedi who has a army of just militia people who look like rebel troopers, essentially, from the first movie. And you're sent there to kill him, but you're also sent there to kill any stormtroopers that see you because no one can know that you exist.
What are they going to do with all those Father's Day presents if you destroy the TIE factory?
I think it's amusing, though, that your whole mission, like, you're just like, he's like, kill everybody. And, like, the whole idea that no one matters. Yeah, not one of them matters.
It's like Rebel or Empire, yeah.
Yeah, just don't care.
I was like, you got it. Kill everyone. Take out anything with a pulse.
No problem there, huh?
Nope, I'm good. Give me Force Lightning, and we'll have a big old barbecue.
It is fun, though, like, especially early on, because you just fight regular stormtroopers and regular idiots, and, like, it's really fun.
It is. Like I said earlier, it's a total power trip.
Yeah, even early in that game when you don't have, all of your abilities unlocked or all of your power upgraded, you still feel, like, super OP. And wiping out stormtroopers is always fun. Like, that's never not been fun in a video game.
Especially when they're like, we're going to throw up this laser wall so you can't get through. I'm like, okay, force throw. Everyone's going into the laser wall. You showed me.
So much fun. It's a lot more fun than I thought it would still be in this day and age, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I mean, throwing stormtroopers does not get old, even though I got to say that, like, the amount of power Starkiller has is a little OP, but still cool.
It's not like he's pulling Star Destroyers out of the sky.
The worst part of the game, but we will get there.
Yeah. I know that's a big complaint in Rise of Skywalker also with the transport that Rey and Kylo are pulling out of the sky, and I was like, have any of you played Force Unleashed? Yeah. What do you guys think of the boss fight, the quote unquote boss fights in this game and the QTEs? Like, I feel like that's one of the toughest things to capture in a video game is like good lightsaber combat or sword combat in general in video games is always like really difficult. And I like the cinematic aspect of it they're able to add by doing the QTEs, but it always felt a little unsatisfying to me. I don't know.
Yeah, they always have to nerf lightsabers because they can cut through like anything. So you should be tearing these people apart with one swing, but it wouldn't be very much of a game, I guess. But the boss fights are my biggest point of contention because like you'll attack them a few times and then they just block. It's like what was it? Blood Omen 2. I had that problem with the boss fights. It's just like you're this super powerful vampire and these pissy ass guards can just block everything you throw at them. It's bullcrap.
Come on now. That game was this bullcrap. Or bullshit. Why are we even saying crap? Like,
they put me in the hospital.
That's the ongoing joke. But like I like QTEs. And I like the fact that they're not that punishing in this game, and they're not that difficult. They're very simple, and they fit the button that you press fits with what a power you use from that button. Like if it's a lightning attack, you'll press like triangle, or would it be triangle if you're playing on PlayStation? But I liked it. Like to me, it felt like it made sense completely to how they did it. I had no problem with the QTEs. Yes, they're the same thing over and over again when you fight ATSTs and other, but I had no problem with it.
Yeah, but that animation's awesome, where he like slices them up in half.
Yeah, it is. Like I also like the boss fight. I like the boss fight with Coda. I like all that story beats of and the fact that he blinds him with his lightsaber because he hits him in the face with it when he sees the vision that he's going to be his teacher someday, and he throws him off the frickin' spaceship or off the factory onto the planet. Like that is awesome.
Yep. This is the best proof in all of Star Wars lore that Mace Windu is still alive out there somewhere.
I still think he is.
Yeah, just chucks him out of the space station, goes back to Vader. He's definitely dead. Don't worry about it, Daddy Vader. Here's his lightsaber. And yeah, obviously not the case.
No, he's not dead. Because come back. And it's okay. Was anyone a fan of Raxus Prime, as I just called it, Trash Planet in my note?
No.
Okay. Listen, in the notes that you sent me, Mike, it says Raxus Prime, Weird Jedi.
I hate
Yeah, that's accurate.
Put some respect on my boy's name. All right. I like this section. You guys really dislike this, huh? I just thought the whole idea of the Jedi rebuilding this like trash version of the Jedi Council to show like their level of insanity was incredible. I thought that was such a cool touch, and like he's trying to talk to Yoda and Mace Windu and stuff. But Kazdan Paratus, we should all remember that name. He's great.
Sure, we can go with that.
Yeah,
I just don't.
The lore is fine. It's the execution that I had issues with. This is one of those big sprawling levels that I was like, okay, where do I go now? Like I killed everyone. Where do I go? There's a dot on the map, but I don't know how to get to it. Which level is it? It's like the maps for the vaults in Fallout 3 and New Vegas. Like they're just completely useless.
But hey, you get to fight a ton of Rodents. I bet that was exciting for you, Mike, since you love Star Wars. Like, oh, Rodents and Jawas, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
I know Jawas. I recognize them.
Rodents were the green aliens that also the same Greedo was a rodent, the one that Han shoots in the first movie.
Okay.
They have the coolest eyes of like any alien. I don't know if you've ever seen a Rodian's eyes close up, but it looks like a mini like galaxy, like it's just stars in like a bluish purple background. It's really cool. But yeah, not the most interesting characters otherwise. I
don't like that Jedi, but I agree that it was a cool part. I don't like fights that you get him down to three quarters of his health. All right, let's go fight a mini boss in the fight. Oh, you killed the mini boss. Oh, look, now he's at half health. Throw another mini boss at him. I don't like stuff like that.
That's
because throughout that fight he throws the junk titans at you, which are essentially just mini bosses, and it irritates me. I understand it. I mean, again, it's the era too. Was this 2010? I think this game is
2008.
It still makes sense. They're just, got to add a little bit of filler too, because if a game wasn't long enough, especially during this time, it would get a worse review. Where now we're like, oh, this game doesn't have any fat, higher review, different time. So I understand.
This is also the height of God of War's popularity until 2018. But so that explains all the QuickTime events, because that game was notorious for those too.
Yeah, but they're not punishing this game. If you mess up a QT, all that happens is like it ends, and then you have to go and hit them like 2 more times.
Do it again. Yeah.
It's nice that they're always the same buttons. Unfortunately, the PS2 version has all the same stuff, but it has random buttons. So
what?
Oh.
Yeah. So each time you do it, it'll be different.
I guess keep it exciting.
I guess.
Okay. Hey, I'm glad that somebody's defending. I already forgot his name. Kazdan
Paratus. Yeah.
He's just, but I do like it is kind of cool how he's talking to the fake console, and he's like, this and that, and he's just gone crazy.
Stacks of rocks.
I love a good crazy old Jedi,
I mean, that's what he is. I mean, so it is cool in that aspect. I just didn't like the fight. I'm not really the planet's kind of cool, but it's my least favorite planet of the, maybe because the second time you come back here I hate that part, so that might have something to do with it too.
Yeah, no, I do agree with it being difficult to navigate. Like the first time I played this game when it originally released, I was stuck for like a couple hours. I remember having to go onto like Game Facts and like looking up walkthrough of like where the hell am I just supposed to go to advance? Like the enemies weren't difficult. It was just literally like finding where I was supposed to jump to or whatever. I was struggling with this level, so I do get the frustration with it for sure.
I think this is the same one where you kill the first junk titan and you like activate this flamethrower thing, and I was like, okay, well, where do I go? Obviously, I need to go down this chasm, but how do I get across? And you have to go to the other side and then go all the way up where there's no indication you're supposed to be up there, and then force pull everything down or whatever.
Yeah,
That's why I don't like that part either, because it took me a while to get through this, and it was irritating me.
And definitely don't fall in the chasm, because if you die, you get to fight the Junk Titan again.
Yeah, that's another thing I don't care for.
But it's all worth it for the next planet, right? Because it's the best one.
I do like Felucia. I also like, because I want to say Felucia's in the movies, if I remember correctly. Because, fun fact, a Shaak Ti, which is the boss that you fight in Felucia, was supposed to be in a scene in Revenge of the Sith where she dies to the clone trooper, but then they deleted it, but then they pretty much used that, since she was alive, in quotations, they were able, then they put it in this game. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, they showed a different Jedi dying there instead in the movie, and I'm trying to remember her name. It's the Twi'lek with like the
blue
French
one?
accent. Yeah.
God, she's in Clone Wars a bunch.
Yeah, but she's in Revenge of the Sith. She's the one who ends up dying there, and I'm struggling to remember her name now. I'm going to Google real quick.
When I Googled Jedi who dies in Felucia, I got Seyfo Diaz, which is not the one I'm looking for.
I got Isla Secura. Yeah, it says died 19 BBY Felucia.
That name was in my head before you said it. I was like, it's something Secura.
Yeah, and she's also one of the voices that Rey hears in Rise of Skywalker as she's standing up to the Emperor for the last time. So that was kind of cool that they brought her back in, because she's more of a minor character in this, but a major character, like you mentioned, in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, because I don't remember she's really even in the movies very much, other than they just put her there in different places. But Clone Wars, she plays a big part in that show.
Yep.
Off and on. She's in a few story arcs. Man, Clone Wars is great.
And we get another character in the Felucia level that like people were super into, and then we never really see again, which is Maris Brood, who's Isla's apprentice.
Yeah, she's okay. She reminds me so much of a Sith, and I know that's what they were going for by giving her the look that they gave her.
Mm-hmm. With the red spikes in her head and the pale ash skin. Yeah. They clearly wanted her to be Sith.
I believe she's a Zabrak, right? Which is the same race as Darth Maul. But yeah, it was like very obvious where that storyline was going later in the game, for sure.
It's okay. Like, I just enjoyed this planet because you get to freaking fight Rancors. I mean, I know that probably when Mike played this in 2009, young Mike was like, "Oh my god," and Mike in 2021 was still like, "Oh my god, Rancors!" Like, it didn't change. Still, I love fighting Rancors.
I was like, "Hey, Rancor, I know what that is. That's a thing I recognize."
So cool. They got the blue stripes down them. There's somebody riding them. Oh, it is awesome. Like, it is probably one of my favorite parts of this game is getting to kill Rancors. I mean, this is one of the first games you got to really do it in, because I'm not counting Super Star Wars Return of the Jedi, because fuck that game. And Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Those games are terrible.
Going back to that Game Informer article, and I posted a picture in our little Skype chat there, but one of the pieces of concept art that like had me so hyped about this game was you facing down Shaak Ti in a cave with like 3 Rancors charging at you. And it was just like the fact that this would even be conceivable as like a winning fight is like, it got me so hyped. And you can see like other Jedis in there, like riding the back of the Rancor in the background. Like, it was so cool. Like, I was so hyped for this game when it came out, and it didn't quite live up to the hype I had in my head, I think. And even now, years later, it's probably dropped a little bit more. But like, this was probably the most excited I had been for a game when it released back in the day.
What I love about this art is that all the Jedis have their lightsabers out, and at first glance, I thought the Rancor had lightsabers. I was like, wait, hold on.
Yeah, the one in the front looks like he's holding it in his little claws, yeah.
We've all been trained in the Force. Yeah, it does look like he's holding his claws, you're right. That's funny. No, but it's still cool. I mean, I don't know, and plus I like finding a character that I recognize, like, because the first 2 are just, brand new made-up characters for this. This is somebody from the movies that they were able to use in the game, which is also cool.
Yeah.
Fighting Shaak Ti, and I was like, man, her voice sounds familiar. It's Susan Eisenberg, who is Wonder Woman in the Justice League cartoon.
Oh, wow.
That's cool. And you fight her in a freaking Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
Which is also cool as hell.
Yeah, which she then, like...
What are your side mission? Go ahead, Brian.
I was just going to say, which she then, like, drops herself into at the end of the fight, which is, like, completely badass. And it's, like, the one of the big turning points for Starkiller in terms of like his morality. So that was a really cool fight.
It's not this mission anyway. One of the side missions is to save the Sarlacc. I don't think it's this one.
It's the when you come back to Imperial Felucia, as they call it.
Oh, okay.
Because after he kills Shaak Ti, then he goes back to Vader because now he's proven himself to Vader because he's killed a Jedi Master. From the Council, he killed the other two Jedi. He's done with his training. And when he gets back there, this is when you get betrayed by Vader because they said the Palpatine had followed you. So Vader stabs you and throws you out the airlock.
Yeah, I don't think we've mentioned yet that Starkiller's whole purpose in being trained by Vader is to overthrow the Emperor. Like, that's what Vader wants to do, supposedly, at the start of this game.
Well, it's also what he does in Return of the Jedi, because his whole point with Luke is to have Luke come to his side so he can then kill Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
The whole idea of this game that he did it before with Luke, like with someone else before Luke. One of my irritations.
I don't want to take orders from a raisin either, so.
One of my irritations with this is there's a line later in this game. It's like, I always meant to do it, but not with you. It's like, come on now. You freaking trained him for it. Like, I like the idea that Vader was actually trying to train apprentices. I don't like it when it has a twist where Vader's like, no, you were just a pawn. Like, he was never going to defeat Palpatine. Like, I like the idea that he wanted to do it. He just realized he couldn't because Palpatine is so powerful. But Mike, one character we kind of have skipped over. We should talk about your favorite character, the pilot that joins you in this.
Juno Eclipse. Who, along with the bald protagonist, you always have to have the hot blonde character that's by their side, and she fits that trope.
Yeah, great name. I'll give her that. Like, I love the name Juno Eclipse. Like, that feels like a very Star Wars name. I always enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's a very Star Wars name. So she's a Imperial pilot who ends up getting assigned to Vader, or assigned to you to drive your ship. And it's supposed to be, no questions asked. You just, she just flies you for your missions, and she doesn't even know anything who you are. But as the first three missions progresses, she starts to kind of care for each other. And after he's almost killed by Vader, Vader saves him. But he has her going to be executed for being a traitor, even though she wasn't a traitor or anything. But he's just cleaning up his mess essentially, and that's kind of what pushes Starkiller to start to become good. Because he still wants to kill Palpatine, is when he goes and he rescues Juno, even though he wasn't supposed to. He's supposed to just let her die. And that causes issues.
Yeah, well, this level is awesome, though.
Yeah, it's fun. Like, when you break out, they're like, Vader's experiment is escaping, or something like that, they say.
Yeah, and you run out into the hallway, and, like, there are all these glass windows on this space station. You're like, okay, throwing people out there.
Yep.
You get that explosive decompression where it just pulls all the nearby stormtroopers out.
But it's good stuff. Cool. And when you throw people out and then the little, the barriers come down, the airlocks, that never got old.
Nope.
Every time I did it, never got old once. And I was really happy every time. I was happy this game still held up for me. Like, I was like, okay, I'm having... When it ran, I had a lot of fun.
Keyword, when it ran. Yeah.
Oh, it was terrible. I think I got it to run 5 times or so, and then I'm like, I got to finish this game. I can't. It's like, this doesn't run otherwise.
Yeah.
PC gaming is such a minefield. I played on PS3 and I had 0 issues with it.
I own this on 360 and PS3, and I should have did one of that, but I'm like, I want to play PC. I have the Ultimate Sith Edition, and and when I googled online, I wasn't the only person with this issue. It's a common thing with that version of the game.
Speaking of technical issues, I enjoy the other member of the crew on the ship, which is Proxy, the droid. He is probably my favorite character in this game.
Whose prime directive is to kill Starkiller.
Yes, just randomly jumping out at you at different points in the game to attack you. The first time as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, he's absolutely there just to have those fan wanks moments. Like, here's his character,
Well, plus he comes out as the Obi-Wan from Revenge of the Sith, not the Obi-Wan that would have been around at this time. Because, in the desert for 30 years, you aged 60 years.
Yeah, and he says, it was an old training module. I was trying to catch you off guard. But this is also about the point where he has kind of his heartbreaking droid moment because Vader has been using him to talk to Starkiller through hologram technology, I guess. And this time, like, when he has the speech with him, he kind of like slumps and says, I really don't like being him. Like, he just like, your heart kind of breaks for this droid that his main purpose is to murder you. So, yeah.
But like every time he does the hologram as Vader, you can like he always slumps afterwards. After every conversation, he just really slumps and looks like he's exhausted from it.
Yeah, he says towards the end, he's like, I hate being that guy.
Yep.
Yeah. I think Vader hates being that guy too.
I like when Starkiller first sees Juno, he's like, who's this? He's like, that's your new pilot. And he turns into her and gives the whole debriefing on her backstory. She's like, is there a psych evaluation in there? It's like, yeah, probably.
Yes, but it's confidential.
I like that. I really like. I think Juno adds a lot to this game, and it helps give Starkiller his humanity. Plus, she's entertaining.
Absolutely. She definitely humanizes him quite a bit.
Like when he saves her, it actually made me care. Like, it hit me. I'm like, okay, like that whole scene when she's about to be, executed, and you go and save her, and you again kill every frickin', stormtrooper on that station, and you blow up the station too. I think you send it into the sun or something, so there's no evidence.
Yeah, and then escape on the Rogue Shadow. Yeah,
I'm a big fan of the Rogue Shadow for some reason.
It's a cool ship. Yeah,
that is a cool ship. I regret not buying that Lego toy, even though I don't collect Legos, but it would be cool in my house. I was thinking about that. I looked it online. I'm like, no, I'm good.
A few $100 now.
Something like that, probably. I just looking at the pictures, but I know it ain't cheap.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a cool ship. I don't know that I really noticed it from the outside.
Well, you never piloted it or anything, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, you got Juno for that.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't have any levels with it, but it just looks cool.
No, this game did not be vehicle levels on top of everything else.
I'm glad that it didn't. I'm glad the game sticks to what it does good, which is just hack and slash.
Yeah.
No, it's not even on eBay. I'm looking right now. The manual is $20 alone, but there's no one selling it. I mean, it's an old set. It just came out 2008.
Yeah.
So, and this series is done. I mean, we're never getting it's not going to continue anywhere.
Right.
You're not getting anything from it. But I mean, after you have the whole turning point and then his whole plan after that is Vader pretty much tells him, okay, now you need to go and recruit the rebels to distract Palpatine in quotations. And so then you go to Bespin, which again, more Star Wars references. Hey, we're going to Cloud City. And you go find a drunk, ridiculous Coda who's in a bar. Yes. I don't think it's like nobody realizes this guy no one realizes you at first. You're just walking on in like do. I'm like, you think somebody would ever that's kind of weird. What's that guy holding the lightsaber for? Or something. Like those robes look familiar. Something
like that.
It always kind of like made me. I don't know when I was playing. I'm like, I still think Coda should have realized who he was, but I can't remember if Coda does and he lies.
He says that at the end. He's like, yeah, I was pretty sure from like when we first met, but I could sense. He says this to Juno in the ending. Mm-hmm. Like I could sense one bright spot of light in him through all the darkness, and she says, "What was it?" And he says, "You," which is very anti-Jedi sentiment. That was very cheesy, and I didn't like it. But he does say that he kind of knew that it was him all along.
Well, that's why the whole Jedi are gone, because they would just like, Anakin, you can marry Padme. It's okay. Oh, she's having issues and you're worried. All right, let's get her to the Jedi hospital and take care of her. No. Let's just tell you can't have attachment so you can kill us all instead. I don't like it, the reason why he becomes Vader at all. I hate the motivation that they put in that movie.
Yeah.
It just bugs me how easily he gets manipulated, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm on the council, but I'm not a master. Kill you all!" Like,
fucking sand.
Yeah, so it's always bugged me, but Cloud City is fun, and this is also when you fight. You actually have an escort mission that wasn't bad, Mike. Can you believe an escort mission that wasn't bad, where the guy just doesn't just take damage for no reason, just because and make you more intense, make it more intense for you?
You talking about Robotech again?
Yeah, I am. Where automatically they would just get hurt, even though nothing's shooting them, just to make you get more worried.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
The only reason we know that we had a developer, so.
God, it sucks.
Yes, it does. But yeah, it was a fun episode. So I really enjoyed Cloud City. I also really got when I first saw, I forget. Hey Brian, you remember what they're called? The evil shadow soldiers that you fight would look like royal guards, but wearing black with lightsabers.
Oh, I don't. Shoot, I can't remember what their official name is. No.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up right now. But I got really happy when I first saw them, because I want to say this is the first time, at least in games or movies, where you had evil Jedi, essentially.
It looks like they're called the Emperor's Shadow Guard. So we were pretty close with just Shadow Warriors.
I mean, because this is the first time that you see this, and it's supposed to be Jedi that were then, convinced to be in the dark side, but they weren't really Sith.
Right.
And this is all changed, because these guys were gotten rid of, and then you got replaced them with the Inquisitors, which were Jedi who then just turned to the Sith.
Yeah, and they have those dope the staff sabers, which are really cool.
Yeah,
that's what I'd always wish they'd gone with for Rey, actually, in the in the sequel trilogy because she was so used to fighting with the staff. I thought it would have been cool if we got a non-traditional lightsaber for a hero, but
agreed. We should, but then again, that was a whole different. We should have. We did not.
Nope.
I don't know. They were still cool. I mean, I also, for some reason, when I was a kid, I was a big fan of the Royal Guards, all in red. I don't know why, looking back, but I really like, even though they do nothing in the movie, they stand in one scene, Return of the Jedi, and walk away, and that's all they do. But I thought they were the coolest freaking people in the movie.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite. I know Last Jedi is a sore spot for you, but my favorite moment in that movie obviously is that fight in the throne room, and that kind of felt like those guards felt like, okay, this is probably what the Royal Guards are like when they fight. Like that was a very similar vibe, and that was just, you can argue with a lot of things in that movie. I understand. That scene is fantastic.
Oh yeah, I'll agree with you in a heartbeat. That scene is fantastic. My problem with that movie, the very basic version, is that if you took that movie out, it wouldn't really matter anything.
Yeah, it's a very contained, like 2-hour story. Like it essentially takes place like in real time, whereas the other movies there's like time progression and you can see the effects of what things are doing. So I agree with that. I think it was much more about character development than story development for sure.
Well, plus it's when you start something, but then you don't tell the guy next, hey, this is where we're going in the series. And he goes like that. That's the biggest
I'm on board with. I agree. Yeah.
So that's always been my complaint. But like, I don't know. So I was so happy in the Shadow Guards, but the way you kill them, I think, is kind of like he breaks their neck. It isn't even like no forepower. He just grabs them and breaks their neck. And I'm like, I want to throw them off, something cool. But Mike, did you carbonite anybody in this level?
I didn't. It wasn't until I beat the level and it was one of the side things was to carbonite so many people, and I'm like, well, where the hell was that?
It's in the barrels. You can grab barrels and you throw barrels at people. They turn.
Yep, didn't even notice.
It doesn't matter. I mean, it just gives you more of the holocron cubes, which essentially
which we hadn't really talked about.
You didn't collect any, did you?
Yeah, I collect quite a bit.
Okay. I went for them when I saw them, but I go on my way. There is some hidden in this game, though.
Yeah, there's a bunch of, not a bunch, there's just a few different kinds of collectibles, but they all look the same, so you never know what you're getting when you pick it up. Usually it's just 10,000 experience points, but sometimes you get different colored lightsaber crystals or whatnot. So I always try to track them down just for the crystals.
Yeah, they're cool. Oh, what color lightsaber did you? We should bring up that important question now.
Well, I planned on just murdering everyone, so I stuck with red, and it would always throw me off when he switches to a blue one in the cutscenes. So I'm like, why does he have a blue one?
How about you, Brian?
I played with red for most of it. I do love me a good green lightsaber.
Same.
But yeah, I pretty much stuck with the red, and same thing. It's like, yeah, when it switches in cutscenes, it's a little jarring. But
I went purple for some reason.
Yeah, I did enjoy in Fallen Order a couple years ago. I played with the orange, which was a lot of fun.
Okay, I was green that one because green is always my favorite. Because my favorite Star Wars character is Luke Skywalker, Return to Jedi. That era.
Yeah, Kit Fisto.
Fuck Kit Fisto.
Well, I mean, he's very
go back a minute. So
it fits. Yeah.
I'm just a big fan of that Luke for some reason. Like that is a favorite. I don't like young Luke in the first movie. I like Luke when he's older.
Yeah,
because he was a whiny 80s protagonist back in the day, like Ralph Macchio was in Karate Kid.
Yeah. And then, so after you have this whole part where you get Coda, then you're trying, and then you kind of revisit a couple levels, which I'm not. Like, it's okay. First, you go to Kashyyyk, which is, I mean, kind of revisit, but not really, because you didn't go there as, I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, but as Starkiller. That is a cool level when you see the Wookiees kind of being enslaved, and you're going there because you're working with Bail Organa, who was General Coda's contact, and you're going there to rescue Leia, which I think is a very cool thing. And she won't even let you rescue her. She's like, no, I'm not going anywhere until you go and stop the General.
Right. Go and destroy that star. I think it's called a Starhook.
Skyhook.
Skyhook. Thank you to keep them from moving the Wookiees off planet. Yeah, I honestly, because I hadn't revisited this game since it came out 14 years ago, like I forgot how much Princess Leia there was in the second half.
Which is cool. Also, question I forgot to ask is I know they never say it, but I'm wondering like if how much time passed from when he's killed by Vader to when he goes and finds Coda. Maybe it's not very long. I guess it's probably not very long, like a day or so.
Long enough to change his clothes. He gets like a different outfit for every level,
which is kind of cool. I mean, I don't like
it is cool. Yeah, you didn't like the heavy training armor or whatever that you wear on the trash planet?
No, I didn't care for that one. He looks, or I care for the one he wears in Felucia where he's half naked. I didn't care for that one either.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, Felucia seems far and away. I wanted to bring this up when we were talking about Felucia earlier, so thank you. This seems like far and away the most dangerous planet, just in terms of like your natural surroundings, and it also seems like the one where everyone decides to wear the least amount of clothing. Like, there is definitely some plants out here that want to like sting you, eat you, like spray pollen at you. Like, that seems like where you should be covered up the most to me.
Yeah.
I can't remember if they had it in the PS3 version. The PS2 version, there were pods that you can pick up and throw, and they release like toxic clouds of whatever. So yeah, you think you'd want to cover up a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you.
I completely agree. It's just, why are you running around half naked on a planet full of things that want to kill you? That can kill you, apparently, as we find out throughout that level. This is a dangerous freaking level. So it's just... But Imperial Kashyyyk, I think it's very cool. You get the free Wookiees that can help you, or I just killed them by accident because they got in my way. I mean, it's fun. And we haven't talked about this yet, but I'm a big Star Wars Dark Forces fan. We covered that episode 13. And you get to fight, which essentially they're not... but they reminded me of Dark Troopers in this. These big, giant soldiers that you... like, Storm to have shield that you just have to take out. I don't think they're called Dark Troopers in Force Unleashed, but that's what they reminded me of.
I found out they're real susceptible to Force Lightning, like everything else.
I mean, Dark Troopers were not canon for a long time after Disney bought them. But no, they're not Dark Troopers. I'm not sure I don't remember what they're called.
Man, I just had the list of enemies pulled up, and then I closed it. I'm like, I won't need this again.
Then here I go and bring up other stuff from there.
Keep talking. I'll pull it back up.
Okay, I have it pulled up, but I can't find what I'm looking for. It doesn't matter. They're cool though. I'm just gonna say that. And they're fun to fight. Imperial Sentinels.
There you go.
I think. There's no picture and no description, but I'm pretty sure that sounds right.
That sounds like that's the right answer, and we shouldn't question it any further.
Okay, sounds good. You also fight a lot of you fight troopers with flamethrowers and shields in this too. The incinerator troopers, which I really like, because incinerator troopers actually weren't really around very often. That's something else that the first experience of them, besides this game that I can think of, is that they're in the first season of Mandalorian, which is what made them canon now.
Yeah. The opening scene of Force Awakens, I don't know if they're incinerator troopers, but there are troopers with flamethrowers who are torching that village.
Oh, yeah. I'm weird. I blocked out that memory. Huh.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. They're very underutilized.
And they're cool. And again, if they would have had the freaking Shadow Guard that they have in this game, I don't think... Or not Shadow Guard. Oh, God. Shadow Stormtroopers, or what are they called? Yeah, Shadow Stormtroopers. The ones that can, camouflage themselves. They're cool as hell. I really like the one that can go stealth and just sneak around and then, try to shoot you.
And still get hit by Force Lightning.
Yeah, but they would have killed Luke.
So the Imperial Sentinel is the guy with the staff.
What the hell am I? Yeah, Evil Trooper, maybe? No, Evil Troopers or something else, I think. It doesn't matter. They were just annoying.
Wait. Is there actually an enemy named Evil Trooper?
Evil.
Oh, okay.
No, they're the ones that have, the miniguns.
Okay.
But no, Kashyyyk's just fun, and you kill that general, and that was cool. Also, you fight an ATST in this game, multiple that use the Force to pull, use gravity to pull things, and I thought that was cool too. They added that in this game. Just a lot of cool things. Then you rescue Leia, so then that kind of he earns his trust to be part of, to work with Bail Organa and Coda, and then the second mission is that you have to. So this was to kind of prove that you're loyal. And then I think you go to Felucia. Oh yeah, because then Bail Organa, who was looking for you or looking for somebody, he went to Felucia to find Shaak Ti, which spoiler alert, she wasn't there because you killed her. So then you go to Felucia for a second time. Imperial Felucia, I think, is also very interesting. I like how by killing Shaak Ti, things have kind of went crazy, and that the dark side is kind of
the whole
Imperial
goes to the dark side. Yeah.
It's and they don't fight the natives who you fought the first time you're there. They're not fighting stormtroopers, and they fight you depending. I like that in games, and they're not just trying to kill you. They want to kill you.
It's fun to come along and just walk into this fight that's already ongoing, and it just you end up taking out both sides. It's pretty cool.
So you can just watch. I mean, I'm assuming the hard difficulty, you just stand there and watch for a bit.
Yeah, true.
We'll just let them kill each other so I don't die. But on easy, I'm like, oh, everyone's dead. Let's go.
Yeah.
It
So
didn't.
and so it turns out Bale has been captured by Maris Brood in the dark side turn nobody saw coming. But
Character, that look, I mean, you can't be surprised.
yeah. Also, yeah, I think wearing the least amount of clothes out of any character in the game again.
Yeah.
But like, what did you guys think of that story beat where when you defeat her, you kind of like let her go, and Bail Organa himself is like, probably should have killed her.
We might need her for the sequels.
Yeah, yeah.
She's not in 2, pretty sure.
Yeah, no, she never shows up again, as far as I know. And I remember when that game came out, everyone was like, "Oh, this is kind of like a cool idea for a character, like an apprentice who goes dark side." Sure, we've seen it before, but it's cool character design. And then yeah, she's gone. Like, so
I mean, maybe the 3rd one they had planned.
maybe because she's like, if you spare me, I promise I'll go back to the light side. And like, nobody was buying that.
Suckers.
It's like the least sincere promise of all time. Just run off into the jungle and you never see her again.
But the whole point was that they wanted to, not show him, I guess, showing that he's going away from the dark side.
Right. Yeah. It just it felt like it was setting it up for like when you left the planet, she was going to try to like ambush you again or something. Like it felt like it was setting up something that never came. But I like this planet other than that.
It's fun. You fight more Rancors, and you fight a giant Rancor, that boss fight with Maris Brood, where you fight a bull Rancor, you fight her, and I think, I was a big fan of all that too.
It is another one of those levels where it's like, go around and destroy all these generators before you can proceed. So I'm like, okay, well, I got this one. Where are the other ones?
And this is also where we talked about before, where you can save this. You can, well, not save, but you can like lessen the suffering of the Sarlacc pit if you destroy certain things, because you go inside the Sarlacc pit to fight her,
which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't save it because I didn't care.
No, I didn't. I wasn't sure how to do it. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, I didn't give a shit. It didn't matter to me. I wasn't going for all the collectibles. I don't care. I just wanted to beat the game and play the DLC.
The crystals.
Yeah, I did really want to play the DLC too. Fucking game. And after you finish Felucia, you go to my least favorite part of the game. You go back to Imperial Raxus Prime, where you fight more Rhodians, but now you also fight Stormtroopers. And I just really dislike this part because it has, in my opinion, which is the worst part of the game. You have to pull a freaking Star Destroyer out of space, which should be cool, but it's So for those that don't know, who haven't played this game before, it's kind of a quick time event. You have to run up, press a button, and you have to like move the joysticks to then pull to line this thing up and then pull it down. But after X amount of time passes, TIE fighters spawn and then they start flying towards you. You can see them flying towards you, and after a while, when they get to you, they start shooting you. You have to let go of the Star Destroyer, destroy the TIE fighters, and then repeat the process. And if you take too long, it will end up resetting itself. The Star Destroyer will reset itself and takes longer for you to get it back to where it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the TIE fighters aren't easy to kill in the first place. You either have to hit them just right with Force Lightning, or you have to grab these engines, I guess, that are floating by and then shoot them out of them. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's not great. It would have been fine if it was just you fight this boss and then pull down the Star Destroyer, not getting interrupted by the TIE fighters every 30 seconds or whatever it is.
If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I also got a glitch in this game when I was doing this. I couldn't line it up. I think it was a glitch. I couldn't get the Star Destroyer to line up. No matter what I did, it would turn green, but it would never let me pull it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So I had to exit the game and restart it, and then it was fine.
Okay. Yeah, this exists in kind of that power vacuum issue, I mentioned earlier, where it's like they have to do this wild and crazy stuff because it's a video game and it's supposed to feel like you're incredibly powerful. But it's like in Empire, like Yoda, the most powerful Jedi Master of all time, is like struggling to pull an X-Wing out of a bog. And it's like he does it, but like it's definitely takes some considerable effort. And you've got, this 20-year-old, maybe, like, I don't know how old Starkiller is supposed to be, but like just yanking down a Star Destroyer out of the sky. Like it just, that was the point for me where I was like, this seems like a bit much.
It is. It's definitely one of my issues with it. It didn't need to be there. Yes, like I agree with you, like the same thing you're saying, how you needed this really cool moment, but I don't care for it. I mean, the whole reason you're there is because you're trying to destroy, as they're building ships or something, I guess, is what you're there for.
Yeah, destroying the shipyard to like get the Emperor's attention that like the rebellion is happening, basically, so that he's like distracted so that you and Vader can carry out your plan. That Vader definitely is not going to betray you on again, for sure. Won't happen. It's the relationship between Vader and Starkiller. It feels very much like, I was thinking about this before we started recording, like in The Princess Bride, when Wesley is describing what his time on the pirate ship was like, where every night the Dread Pirate Roberts would be like, "Good night, sleep well. I'll most likely kill you in the morning." Like that's how the relationship with Vader feels. He's just like, at any moment you're like, this is definitely not going to go well for me. Like, but yeah, this is like, it's cool. It's absolutely cool, but it's a little out there for me.
Yeah, and then this is also when you fight Proxy, where he turns into Darth Maul, and you get to fight Darth Maul for no real reason.
It's more fan wank.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it was cool to me in 2009 when I played this game the first time. Now it's kind of like, whatever, but I understand it, because Darth Maul wouldn't have really been around at all. I mean, for those that follow Star Wars, I should have said spoilers a long time ago, but for those that follow Star Wars, Darth Maul makes a return to the Clone Wars and the Rebel show, and he continues on, like,
and Solo, yeah,
and then he has a final, like they complete his story, but like back then, like at this point, I don't think Clone Wars are out. Maybe Clone Wars are out, but I don't know if they got to the season when Darth Maul shows up. But like this was your first chance to really see Darth Maul again in a long time.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't come in Clone Wars like season 4 or 5. He's a little bit later when he joins the show.
Gosh, that final season of Clone Wars, like the fight between him and Ahsoka. I'm sorry, I know this is a sidetrack. That is like, for a cartoon, like that is the coolest choreographed fight I think I've seen in Star Wars. I put it right up there with like the original Darth Maul fight in Episode 1, like the fight between Maul and Ahsoka as they're going across like all those steel beams is just so cool looking. But yeah, go check out that final season of Clone Wars they released this year if you haven't.
It's really
Clone
good.
Wars, the one that you have to like watch in order. Aren't all the episodes like, don't they jump around the timeline?
You don't have to. You can watch it in published order. You just have to be aware that they don't follow chronologically.
Yeah, and that's only the first couple seasons, I think. And then after that, it's pretty much lined up. And honestly, the first couple seasons are better like background noise than to actually like focus on what's going on.
The first one is bad. Second one picks up a lot better, and then third one it hits the ground running from 3 on.
Yeah, for sure.
Same with Rebels. First season of Rebels a little, but then 2 through 4 are just spot on good stuff.
Yeah. So after you destroy that facility, there's the meeting with like Bail and Leia, Mon Mothma, and then this other guy who I had to look up his name again. It's Garm Iblis. And did anyone else did you get to that meeting and just look at this table and you're like, okay, we've got like 3 legends here, Bail, Leia, and Mon Mothma, and then Garm Iblis. I was just like, there's no way this guy lives. This guy is going down.
Because he's not anything else. They just took him and put him in here.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
It's a very strange choice. Yeah. You could have had, I don't know who else they could have brought in, like an early Rebellion adopter, like a Wedge or something. But yeah, it was a weird, just who is this guy compared to like the rest of the people in that room?
No, I agree. I was like, what? And then they don't like that part is so small, and I had forgotten because I was mixing up this game and the second game. Like I was remembering parts that are from the second game. And I'm like, when did this happen? I'm like, oh yeah, wrong game. Because it's during this scene is when Vader ends up, because he's about to start the rebellion, and then Vader shows up, ends up capturing them, and then and calls them like, my apprentice. They're like, what? He's working for Vader. I mean, I love that little shock they all have, like, oh my god, just trusted this guy out of nowhere to the start. Oh, you idiots! Like, I think what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and this is also when we get that line that you guys mentioned you didn't like about that. I always wanted to overthrow the Emperor, just not with you.
I don't like it because I like the idea that he was using him to overthrow Palpatine, not doing another one of Palpatine's plans.
Yeah.
They should have left it the way it was and not change it.
What I do love about this scene is the way that he gets out of this is Proxy sacrifices himself by coming in again with the Obi-Wan training module to distract Vader, which I wish we had gotten more of a reaction from Vader of just seeing like young Obi-Wan Kenobi charging at him. I guess he probably figured out what was going on pretty quick there, but like it would have been funny if he just had like a moment of like, what? Before just cutting down Proxy, which was very sad.
I don't like Proxy. So I wasn't.
It was surprising, like, oh, okay, Proxy's dead. That's sad.
It's fine. But and then he ends up reuniting with Juno, and then he's like, okay, now I have to go save what I started. So then you go to the Death Star, which also, one thing I forgot to mention that I need to mention that made me smile is whenever you go and see Vader, like on that mission after you kill Shakti and you go see Vader, you're going to the freaking Executioner he's flying to, that is being built. And I got a big smile on my face. For those that don't know, Mike, Executioner is the ship that he has in Empire Strikes Back. Because the Death Star was blown up, he's on the Executioner.
Right.
I definitely recognize the Death Star.
Yeah.
Okay. That was cool to see it being built.
Oh, I mean, the Death Star level is fun, though. Like, when you have the freaking laser cannon there and you gotta, like, dodge it and not, and time it and stuff, that is so cool.
At first. It goes on a minute.
If you get caught in it. I got caught in it once. I was a little annoyed. But I didn't get caught again. But I would throw troops into it, too, and watch them.
100%. Yeah.
It's a long enough time frame that it didn't bother me. Because there's a lot of time frame.
And it gives you plenty of notice. It's like, we're about to fire the laser. Get out of the way. We're going to count down and then fire the laser. It's like, move.
I'm okay with it because it wasn't like, boom, it's happening. It gives you enough time to react.
It's just, once it fires, you have to like stand there and wait for it to stop and then you can go.
Yeah, it didn't bother me. I mean, stuff the game, but this one I was fine with.
So let's talk about the important part of this level. Like, what did you guys choose at the climactic point of this fight? Like, did you go light side or dark side?
Light side only because the guide that I had pulled up to see where I was said that fighting Vader the second time is way harder. Fight Palpatine then.
Yeah.
I went light side, of course, because that's me.
I did too. I'm that person who, like, any game that has a morality system, I can't do it. Like, I can't be the bad guy. Every KOTOR playthrough I've done, I'm always like, I've reloaded saves at points because I accidentally did something that got me dark side points, and I feel bad about it. Like, I can't help myself. So yeah, I also went light side, but the dark side ending leads to some really bonkers stuff later on that we'll talk about, I'm sure.
So the light side ending was supposed to be canon that fit into the greater story of where it was going, but that, doesn't happen, of course, anymore. Because we'll talk about both, but we'll talk about the light side. So if you choose the light side, you fight Vader, then you fight Palpatine. You end up you end up sacrificing yourself and blowing up, and then General Kota and Bail Organa and they all escape then. And then you die, and then your symbol becomes the martyr, and that they use your symbol to start the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah, right. They wipe off the table and like, oh, we'll use this symbol for our rebellion.
I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, but it was something that could have fit into the canon of the movies. Because he couldn't, not like this guy could be around. He had to be gone.
Right.
No matter what, by the end of that, if they would have had a third game, he was disappearing, because you can't have him in there.
Right.
But the dark side, if you choose, which was not canon at the time, if you choose the dark side, which is what Brian was
really, it's not canon.
It should. The movie would have went a lot differently if that was. I like the idea that Starkiller ends up killing Vader, joins Palpatine, and then you show him going to Tatooine to go get the droids. And did you watch a video then, or just the cutscenes?
Yeah. So if you choose the dark side, you do still try to kill the Emperor also, but the Emperor puts you down, and then they show you basically they reenact the scene from the end of episode 3 where Vader wakes up, but Starkiller is in a very similar to Vader type of suit, except that it has really weird claws on the end of his hands for no reason. It's like Knuckles the Darth Vader. I don't know. But yeah, so he and the Emperor basically says I'm gonna graft all this armor onto you and make you serve me, and then as soon as your usefulness is run out, I am going to replace you. That's that's how this ends. After he's already killed all of the other senators and Juno and everybody that he cares about. So
that armor is cool.
yeah, the helmet is cool. Yeah,
I think you unlock it too for a New Game Plus if you choose evil.
Oh,
because I think for the light side, you get a Jedi robe
I think so.
And so there's 3 DLC levels that were released. One of them goes with the light side ending. Well, one of them takes place during the game on Coruscant, where you actually go to the Jedi Temple.
Okay, that's why I remembered it, because I know I played that one before.
Yeah, but the other 2 take place after the dark side ending. So there's a Tatooine level where you go to Jabba the Hutt's palace.
Yes.
He gives you the information about the droids having the Death Star plans, and then you just kill everyone in Jabba's palace, including Boba Fett. Go to Mos Eisley Canteen, I think.
Yeah, you do.
You kill Obi-Wan Kenobi there.
And you fight the Spirit, and you also fight Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Boba Fett.
You murder Boba, you murder Obi-Wan, but the droids get away because you're busy murdering Obi-Wan. But Starkiller puts a tracking device on there and tracks it to Hoth, where you go to Hoth. The Rebel Alliance is weakened at this point. They haven't been able to blow up the Death Star. And you have orders to capture Luke Skywalker for the Emperor. But instead of killing Luke Skywalker or capturing him, you turn him to the dark side through a lightsaber battle and convince him to help you overthrow the Emperor.
Interesting.
It's super bonkers, and I love it that they went that off the wall with it.
Did you see who the bosses were for the Jedi Temple?
I didn't watch that one. I watched the dark side stuff.
I did too. I really liked I really wanted to play them. I was upset that I couldn't play them.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't get the freaking game to load again. I was getting really irritated because it's I have them on because they come with the pack that I bought, the Ultimate Sith Edition, but for some reason it wouldn't work. So I was really upset that there was no way to get it. But I mean, they give you a lot of boss fights. I'm looking up the Jedi Temple right now just to see what boss fights are in here. I'm assuming there's some cool ones.
I'm looking, yeah. So it's called Trial of the Spirit, it looks like.
Oh, you fight yourself. That's what this is. You fight the evil version of yourself.
Shadow Starkiller.
Okay, so not as cool, not as fighting like Boba Fett and Luke Skywalker. And then Force Unleashed 2 has the Endor DLC where you fight Leia. Spoiler alert.
You fight Ewoks?
Probably. I never bought any of the deal. I bought the DLC on 360 for this game because I really like this game, but I don't think I ever did for Force Unleashed 2, but I can't remember. But yeah, there's 3 DLC missions that add. I mean, each mission they're about half an hour long each, but hey, they come in your PC version if it works. So I would have 100% played it because I was ready for more game. I was okay with more game, and I had it, but couldn't play it. All right. Any last things to say about the game before we go on to questions, comments, or memories?
We didn't talk about Bill Tucker's favorite part, where Juno pulls him in for a passionate kiss before he goes to the Death Star.
I love that ongoing joke with him.
It's kind of earned in this, I guess, since she's supposed to be what pulls him out of the dark side.
I had no problem with it.
Nah.
To me, it made sense.
I like that she kind of initiates the romance. That was kind of cool. She's at least I'm not going to regret this since I won't see you again.
Yeah.
She pulls him in for the kiss. That was kind of cool, but it's
She takes the Hollywood male approach and just wraps an arm around and pulls him in. His eyes get all bugged. What?
Yep, exactly.
I do feel, like I said, you said it, it's deserved, so it feels right.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it's her initiating, not him.
It was a funny moment.
And then I completely forgot about it, but God, that ongoing joke with Bill.
Oh, yeah, every time. I want to talk a little more about the PS2 version since I played all but the last level this morning because it's pretty fun. You get different lightsaber hilts, which I don't think you do in this one. So I think it's just the color crystals and the power crystals. I think I don't remember what they're
something
called.
like that.
I didn't give you the different abilities. I thought it was cool in the next gen version how each color had the what do they call it? The unfocused. They had different versions of each color. The unfocused was kind of warbly, the blades kind of wiggled and wobbled.
Like a Kylo Ren type of thing.
Like a Wiimote?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Like a Wiimote. That's a waggle. It's different.
Playing with that Wii Motion Plus. Yeah.
But the PS2 version had a bunch of different colors. It's got 16 different colors, which I would assume are not canon. There's a magenta one and a teal one and whatnot. It was cool to see different colors that you don't normally see. You can get Force Choke as an ability, which I used quite a bit. It's just you lift them up and then just hold them there while their life drains. That's fun.
That's cool.
You could pick up the turrets that the stormtroopers use to shoot at you. If you use force pull on them, they kind of hover over your shoulder and shoot at people. which I was really sad was not in the next gen version because that was real fun. And then it had more costume cheats, like you can actually play as Juno in the PS2 version. I mean, she's all hunkered down like Starkiller and still has his voice and whatnot, but it was cool.
That's excellent.
But it was weird that she wasn't in the next gen version. Like they each have different costumes.
Strange. I wonder if some kind of like license deal or something that they put together at the time.
Yeah, maybe. But if you have a costume on, it disables all the cutscenes, which was fine because I'd already seen them.
Plus, you probably didn't care.
No. And like I said earlier, the levels are super linear. Like you can tell that they just copy and pasted rooms, and you go back to the same planets like you do in the next gen version, but they look the same. They're not real different. So you go back to Kashyyyk, and it looks just like Kashyyyk did.
Okay,
it's fine. It's worth checking out. It's kind of mindless, especially if you put in the cheats to give you infinite health and force power.
It's really fascinating to me just how like the stuff you're describing, how some things like regressed into the next gen version and some things are improved. Like you don't hear about that very much. Like that's a super weird situation for this game. I didn't realize it was so different.
And the leveling system, which we hadn't talked about yet, is totally different. In next gen, you gain experience and you actually go up levels, and it gives you points to spend in the force powers, the combos, and then like your passive attributes. In PS2 version, you only get experience and you spend it like a currency, and it's only on the powers to upgrade them.
That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, it's cool that they're, like Brian said, there's so many similarities, but they're so different too.
Yeah.
I'll probably never play it, but that's cool.
I can make that happen. We're going to go back to Force Unleashed to play the old version. We're going to play the N-Gage version. N-Gage.
Episode 116 is the Nintendo DS N-Gage Force Unleashed.
I was reading on Wikipedia. Apparently the DS version still uses 3D graphics somehow. So I'm sure it's I
want to go watch
good.
gameplay of that after this, yeah.
It can't be good. All right.
Probably not.
And I'm going to read some questions. First, I got some from I watched the entire Overlord replay group. It's a mouthful.
Yay, I love those.
From Wesley Nicewanner. I personally loved the first game. Haven't played the second yet, but I feel the story was really good. The game had really fun mechanics, and the ability to use different lightsabers was awesome. I think without the Force Unleashed games like Jedi Fallen Order would have never been made. They would have stayed a good idea on paper, but not actually made as a masterpiece it is. I agree with that. I think this game did pave the way for other games that came after it. Mm-hmm. Even though you're nowhere near as powerful in Jedi Fallen Order, but that makes sense because that game actually fits in the canon, unlike this one.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like the gameplay loop in this almost feels, and this is maybe a really out there comparison, but kind of Ocarina of Time-ish to me, where there's like this, or Link to the Past even. It almost feels like a Zelda Star Wars game where there's this point like halfway through where you think you're at the climax and then something happens, Temple of Time, in this case, Vader trying to kill you. And then it's like, oh, like there's still a whole second half, 2/3 of this game left that I haven't gotten to yet, which I really liked. I thought that was cool. And I know that second half kind of feels like a slog sometimes, but I like that like the game kind of opened up a little bit after that.
You couldn't see the look I just gave you when you started that. There was a look. I'm like, what? But all right. I see where you're coming from, though. It does feel like a lot of different things. And then from Randy Brink, I really like both games. They were great stories, but definitely not the worst. Not wrong there.
Yeah, I've been watching. Hold on, real quick. I've been watching gameplay of the 3DS version. It looks real bad.
I just like the screenshots in the chat. Yeah.
all your basic attacks and stuff are on the touchscreen, so you're constantly hitting the touchscreen to attack. Oh boy.
Yeah, DS has some good things, but man, I don't like gimmicks in my games.
Oh, you don't want to play Kid Icarus Uprising for the show?
I do really bad, but I can't emulate it, and it's not cheap.
I don't want to play it again.
I've never played it, but I really want to. I also want to play the other two Kid Icarus games for the show too. So
yeah, well, sometime.
That hasn't happened yet.
All right. So sorry to interrupt.
Question from Ken Pittman: how well do you think it gamified force powers? And did it actually seem like really being a Jedi, or just generic superpowers to you?
It's totally generic superpowers, but I'm not a Star Wars fan, so it was very gamified. Though it's like I said multiple times, it's a total power trip.
I'm fine. I liked it.
Yeah, I think it's the best. Like, it's the most powerful I've felt as a Jedi or Sith in a game, and I feel like it incorporates it the best. I really enjoyed using Force Push to just like blast through doors. Like that was super fun for me when that first came out. Like I would just hit it like as much as I could until that door was just decimated. Like that just felt like super powerful. I don't know. I really enjoyed that as like a little nitpicky thing in this game. But
plus you can charge it like a Hadouken, so that's cool.
Yeah.
And his second question: do you think Vader secretly went wee in his mind when on the wooden bridges and just swung back and forth?
Yes.
I just like that. I didn't think about that till he posted. Like, okay.
Speaking of making noises, there's a Wilhelm scream somewhere in there. I made a note of it, but I can't remember where.
Did you throw the stormtroopers off?
I thought it was in a cutscene.
No, it's some. I know what you're talking about. I heard it too. I don't remember exactly.
Wouldn't be Star Wars without one of those.
Yeah, and then last one from this group, Isaiah Bailey. First game has a really good story and some insanely good force power. Second game improves the gameplay a ton, making it even more buttery smooth, but the story is pretty garbo.
That sounds exactly like what I'm looking for.
It's also really short, from what I remember.
Yeah, I pulled it up on how long to beat. This one says 8 hours, and that one says 5. So
and I beat this game in 5. Force Unleashed 2, without going too far, ends on a cliffhanger to get ready for the third game that we're never getting, so I have problems.
Oh, like Mega Man Legends.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mega Man gets stuck on the moon at the end of Legends 2, and they're like, well, Roll's going to save us, and then he's still, some say he's still up there to this day.
All right. And from the official Laser Time group, from Jake Burden Stokey, fun fact, the main character of this voices the animated version of Darth Maul in Clone Wars and stuff.
Yes,
we mentioned earlier.
Yep.
And somebody, Tommy Ratcliffe, took a picture of the PS2 version, said, had no clue they also released this for PS2.
It's good.
He has it in his hand. It doesn't, and I think he owns it, so I'm assuming that he had some kind of clue. So, from Robert Lawson, I played this game way too much as a teen. Not a bad thing. And let's see. Okay, this one from Trey Johnson. I played the Wii version multiple times. I also have it on PSP. Those versions have a cool extra fighting game mode on there. That was pretty cool. I know what he's talking about because I actually played this first in the Wii because I didn't have a 360. And you fight, like they have like a one-on-one fighting in the Wii version of this game. You have like Mara Jade and other characters that don't exist anymore.
She was another costume that was in the PS2 version that wasn't in the next gen. But you had explained to me who she was.
She is Luke's wife in the books.
And also enemy, and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can go on more, but we'll do the very... Yeah.
She looked like the Black Queen from Marvel when... Goddamn, never mind.
The red is at one point, right?
It's the fake Jean Grey, Madeline Pryor. Yeah.
But yeah, they had like, I forgot about this, but yeah, they had a 2-player versus mode that I remember trying on there.
Is it better than Masters of Terrascasi?
I think anything can be worse than that. It's better.
Yeah, Goblin Queen, you're right.
And from the Star Wars May the Force Be With You, a fan group, from Dominic Nardi, epic soundtrack, which we have not talked about because it was good though. I actually played this with our podcast on.
It's just John Williams' score again.
Yeah, so good.
Which is fantastic.
And from Jason Morgan, I've been replaying on my PS Vita the PSP version of this game. Tons of fun. And let's see, last group to read some questions from Star Wars Discussion Room. I got a few, so I'll read a couple from here because I got a ton. From Andrew Jeremiah, if they remaster this game and tweak some things, I would definitely buy it. It was fun. I did not like number 2 at all. Yeah, we'll find out eventually.
Yeah, I think that's the general consensus.
Sounds like the Star Wars superfans don't like the story in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just when I remember I liked it. I was just upset that it was over as quick as it was, and that I didn't get, and that I'll never get my confirmation of what happened. That's my problem. From Josh Jones, I love The Force Unleashed. It's my favorite storyline in all of Star Wars. The second game was a big letdown, though. I would give anything to have the first game made canon. Well, that's not happening. Okay, and from R. Montavavo, I pronounced that wrong. This was the last game I played start to finish. I enjoyed it.
Wow.
Should play more games start to finish.
Yeah.
Hopefully did that recently.
Yeah, from Ryan Armstrong, they need to continue the storyline, man. Starkiller was the coolest. Okay, and let's see. From Hunter Martinez, this game I didn't play for balanced gameplay. I played it for lack thereof.
100%.
And that was fun, though. I mean, the way, like, with this show, like, I loved having a game where I didn't have to look up any guides. I didn't have to play carefully. I just killed things, and I had fun.
Mm-hmm. It's what Bounty Hunter should have been.
Yeah.
But it sure wasn't.
That game is hard as hell, especially when you don't play it right. All right, from Will Hart. Really fun game. I beat it on Sith Master difficulty, which I would not recommend unless you're a glutton for punishment. The boss achievement is in the prologue was a really cool Easter egg. I honestly couldn't tell you how many times Coda told me to reach out with the Force and grip that destroyer, but it drove me crazy.
Yep.
All right, from Fotis my childhood game always was and will be the most fun to go back and just play. So many memories. Okay, and last one I'm going to read from Nick Bruce. Absolutely love the first one. The second one could have been better, but the dark side ending is amazing and more in keeping with original canon. I really want a third, even to this day, following the dark side ending.
Hold on, the first one, the dark side ending followed he kills Darth Vader.
Luke
really
in the DLC and Obi-Wan. Yeah. I don't know.
That doesn't really follow the canon. Maybe he's talking about the second one.
I don't know anything about the second one. Unfortunately. I don't remember much about it.
No, same.
I'll change that at some point, but I don't remember anything right now.
Yep. I think I might change that at some point.
You're curious to see it. It's not bad. I mean, it's got issues, but if for story-wise, you won't care about, you'll have fun just killing things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, Mike, but people tend to not like the story in the second one.
That's why I didn't like it. I'll definitely play it. Yeah, I'll probably be on the show. Just I want to finish things that we start because that's
an easy one to do.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't want it. All right, let's go to shelf, stack, or box, since I remember to say stack this time. And Mike, since this is your pick, why don't you go first?
So it was fun. Like, as we've talked about, it's just fun to run through and kill all these generic enemies. They're basically just cannon fodder for your force powers. But the bosses kind of drag it down. I feel like I'm just constantly throwing stuff at them until they finally decide to take damage again. Like, if there was some deeper gameplay there, I wasn't getting it. I could see playing it again, so I will put it in the stack. I think I would actually put the PS2 version on the shelf, just because it's even more mindless. And it had cool things that I liked that weren't in the other version. But yeah, it passes my license game test, where even if you take out the Star Wars license, it's still fun. So you don't need to have that attachment to it to enjoy it. So yeah, good stuff.
All right, I'll go next. I'm actually going to put this in the stack too, because I didn't hate it, but I didn't it's not something that I really want to talk about. Oh man, you should really play this game that has no interfering with the rest of the story. Didn't do it for me this time. I had a good time. I wasn't upset or anything. I wasn't upset when the game ended. I was upset about how it wouldn't load, but it's going to go stack, and maybe someday I'll play it again. I mean, I would play that DLC if it would have worked. No problem at all.
Yeah, if it's too easy, just play it on PC. Apparently, it's harder on that.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't. I mean, some people get it to work. There were a bunch of different corrections. Like, okay, try this or try that, but I couldn't get anything to work. So I just finally was done. So that's what I recommend is play it on 360 or PS3. One of those. Don't play on PC. So go in the stack, and maybe I'll go back and play it one day. Who knows? How about you, Brian?
Yeah, I love Star Wars, and so I'm really tempted to shelf this. I think back in the day, I absolutely would have. I think replaying it now, there's basically a much better version of this game without the power trip in Jedi Fallen Order. So I think because Jedi Fallen Order exists, it has relegated this game to the stack for me. But prior to that, it probably would have been a shelf.
Okay.
So yeah. I think I'd rather play like Prototype or Infamous or something if I want the power trip.
True. Yeah, I'm talking about more from the Star Wars angle as a fanboy, but
okay.
And Mike, I want to close that loop that we started earlier. That enemy is called the Imperial Purge Trooper.
Thank you.
I found it like half an hour ago. I'm like, let's wait till the end.
At least it got finished.
Yep.
I was wondering too.
So whoever's been screaming at their monitor or whatever you listen to this on for the last however long, there you go.
About an hour or so. It was a while ago that I brought that up, I think. So, all right. That's about kind of what I expect. I wasn't really sure what we were going to do with this one. And Mike, since I think it's your pick next week.
Next week, we're playing Portal 2.
Oh, yeah. Portal 2.
I'm really excited for Portal 2.
It's an all-timer. I love that game so much. Can I come back? Is that allowed?
That's going to be my first time playing Portal 2, so I look forward to that.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm very going to be a very good episode next week.
Yeah. Are you guys going to talk about the co-op as well?
Maybe.
Yeah, we are discussing that.
I feel like the two of you should have to play the co-op together. Like that, it'd be like a relationship test for the podcast.
How it goes? Can we figure it out?
Yeah, that'd be easy because Mike will just pull up a guide and we'll be set.
Yeah, that does happen. All right. And Brian, you want to give a shout out to your podcast where people can find you?
Yeah. Again, we're Draft Punks on all your favorite podcast apps. We also do some streaming and stuff, like any social media, basically Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, all that stuff. We are Real Draft Punks. So yeah, come and find us and say hi. We try to put out a new episode every week. If you like gaming, most of them have been focused around that so far. Like Mike mentioned earlier, we did a whole month of Zelda episodes. So that was super fun. But yeah, check us out and say hi.
That's why I couldn't find
the breakfast cereals one. That was real good.
Yeah, we had my buddy Travis had his mom on for that episode as our special guest.
She was great.
She was fantastic. Big shout out to Debbie McGahee, school librarian and cereal aficionado.
I was trying to find you earlier and I couldn't find you, but then I was able to find you then.
Yep. Yeah.
Google was not being friendly. All right, and that about wraps up this episode. If you enjoyed this, we got other Star Wars episodes for you. We covered a few, so I'm going to mention them real fast. The Mandalorian Season 2, TV 1, not that long ago. We did Star Wars Bounty Hunter, Episode 87, for some reason. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Episode 69. Star Wars Shadow of the Empire, Episode 48. We covered the Holiday Special, because I hate people. And our film, Episode 6. Definitely check that. That is a weird-ass episode to listen to. Like, I listened to it one day, and I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing? Well, every episode starts off with our normal music. That one does not. It starts off with the song in that movie.
Oh, okay.
It's not goodbye, but good night, or something like that. Yeah. A friend, one of the guests on the show, he recorded that song before, and so he just let me use it. And I'm like, well, I don't have to worry about YouTube copywriting me, so I can put it on there.
That's a lot of Star Wars content, considering half the hosts of the show are not Star Wars fans.
This is most of us before Mike.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Bounty Hunter and this one were me.
And it wasn't either of our pick. Bounty Hunter was one of Stu's picks before he left the show, and then I had a guess, so it stayed. Mandalorian, Mike's not on because he doesn't like Star Wars that much.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
We also did Star Wars Republic Commando Episode 21, one of the best Star Wars games, and our best episode for some reason. We did Star Wars Dark Forces Episode 13, and we also did the Darth Vader comic, which is comic 6, somewhere in there.
Dark Forces is the first-person shooter from what, like 95 or something?
Yes.
And then Republic Commando is the one where you can change between the troopers.
Not really, but sure.
Something like that.
You play as one trooper, but yeah.
I thought you could take control of the other ones.
I don't think so, but it's been a long time since I played it. It's a really, really good game, though.
God damn it.
We'll do a recover on it.
That doesn't mean anything anymore.
No, I mean, yeah, I know you don't trust my opinion anymore for some reason, but it's a really good game. Like, people love it. It got re-released recently on PS4 and stuff.
Huh.
It's a really good game. And also, it wasn't young Mike that played it. It was Mike on the show that played it. Mike on the show has a different opinion than young Mike, the one you don't like.
That's fair. I'll give you that.
So
young Mike's an asshole.
Yes, he liked Raccoon City too. How'd that go for you?
That was my first episode.
I want to say I liked that game, but I know I didn't. So also want to give a shout out to our awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Bobby, a.k.a. Mike Tony from his EP Bite the Bullet, Song and School Kid Squad. You will see a link in the show notes. You also see a link in the show notes to Brian's podcast, as long as he sends it to me in time. So that will be in the show notes too for you. And if you enjoyed this episode, please check out everything else we do. Like I said, we all the Star Wars, we do comics, we do movies. We're going through the MCU and recently released Civil War at some point. We got Doctor Strange coming out either around this time you're hearing this or very soon because time paradoxes. So definitely check those out. And we will see, and please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, because people are actually subscribing to us on YouTube. I still don't have my custom URL, even though I have over 100 subscribers, so just keep subscribing. Maybe one day they'll let me do it. I don't know why they have it yet, but it's there, so one day I'll get the ability, I hope. I don't know.
The YouTube staff are some of the people that are trying to watch Dark World, and they can't, so they're like, well, we're not going to give this guy a URL then.
Over 10,000 views. And 24 dislikes. This is not the film.
10,000. That's insane.
It's just because it pops up in algorithms now and people see it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the time of this recording. It's over 10,000 now.
Wow.
No, I mean, if you look at it, it's like 1%. It's only like 2% of people click on it actually get past the first minute. But I don't care. It's just, I mean, I didn't do it for that. I did it just because I want to put us on YouTube, and I never thought that was going to happen. It's just that movie. Just Thor: Dark World and Age of Ultron. The rest do not pop up. Nobody's really searching. It's just for some reason that one just popped up to everybody.
It's wild.
It's really weird, but that's what happens when you do a podcast based on a movie and you name it that way. Weird. All right. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.